My name is Joel Roberts, and I'm presenting my research on the effects of extremity and valence on the availability heuristic. So there's a couple things that you'll need to understand for this project is heuristics. So heuristics is simply referring to the mental shortcuts that our brain uses in order to make decisions more quickly. That research was pioneered in the 1970s by Tversky and Kahneman. This research that I did in particular builds off the work of Rob Rothbart et al. From 1978. And within that study, Rothbart et al. Claimed that extreme information had a significant effect on the availability heuristic. What my study wanted to look at was that I noticed that in Rothbart's study, they only used negative information and they didn't use positive information. And there's been a lot of research which has shown that people are generally more sensitive to negative information. So I wanted to know if the availability heuristic was also affected to such a great degree by extreme positive information, or if there was an effect size there, but it just simply wasn't as large. So my study was set up the same as Rothbart's, where participants read through 50 statements, one at a time. All conditions received the same 40 statements, so there were 14 neutral, 13 mildly negative, and 13 mildly positive. And then what varied between the conditions was the 10 other statements that they read, and those 10 other were either extremely negative, extremely positive, mildly negative, or mildly positive. And of course, they read through those statements in a randomized order. So a total of 242 participants completed the study, and there was about 75 in each group. The results of the study found that the extreme negative condition was the only condition that showed significantly different results from the other conditions. This was surprising to me, as although I was hypothesizing that the extreme negative condition would have a greater effect size than the extreme positive condition, I also did believe that the extreme positive condition would be significantly different from the mild conditions. So it was surprising to see that there was no effect of the extreme positive at all. So the two measures we're looking at here are the overall rating and then the total items recalled. So for the overall rating, participants were just asked, once they'd read through all those statements, to rate the to just rate everything overall, how from a 7-point scale, from 1 being extremely negative, 7 being extremely positive. And so as you can see, for the mild conditions and the extreme positive condition, the average rating was about 4. But for the extreme negative rating, the average rating was about 2.5. And then for the items recalled, we're kind of seeing that the same trend, where there's no difference between the mild conditions and the extreme positive condition, but the extreme negative condition, people are recalling the extreme negative items much more than they're recalling the mild positive, mild negative, or extreme positive items. In conclusion to this, this research demonstrated that the extreme negative information does have an effect on the availability heuristic. Where it counters Rothbart's study is that this seems to be only true for extreme negative information and not true for extreme positive information. And this is relevant because heuristics are part of everyone's everyday life and the way we make decisions. And so this research will impact, can have impact in any sort of research dealing with risk decision making. So whether that's health, finance, law, or government policy making. Thank you.